Good morning. What a dreary start to the day for all of you parents out there who got your kids off to school in the drop-off line and then headed back home to enjoy some peace and quiet before you pick them back up again. No doubt you're being very thankful for the fact that you've gotten them off successfully this school year. All the to-do lists have been marked off and you can get on with what I hope will be a successful year. But many parents watching this morning might still be scurrying about trying to get some last minute things done, and that could very easily include your kids' vaccines. It's easy to let those slip past you. So thank goodness we're happy this morning to kick the show off with Dr. Bryn Meredith. He is a pediatrician with CHI Memorial's Pediatric Diagnostic Associates. Great to see you this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad to talk to you. I guess I kind of live on a deadline pressure. That's how our business works in television. So I think I did that to my kids too. I always seem to be the one scurrying in at the last minute to get everything ready to go for the school year. For parents like me, it's not too late to get a well child visit.
No, absolutely not. You can always call our phone number if you're part of our practice, and we definitely, work very hard to make sure kids can get in, because we know how it goes right before school starts, and you forget, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do their physical or get their shot updated or whatever it is. But yeah, we definitely work hard to get everybody in right before school starts.
I guess what happened, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, is that over the course of this last now year and a half, just scheduling changed for parents, and probably a lot of them missed some appointments where they would have normally gotten their kids' vaccines updated.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we know that we have, data from the CDC and other kind of central databases that track immunizations, and saw like a 10% drop in kids under the age of 8, and really saw about a 25% drop in adolescent age. And certainly part of it was on doctors' offices where, at the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of us completely shut down because we didn't know what we were dealing with. And then even when we opened back up, parents were afraid to venture out in the public, especially going into their doctor's office clinic where there might be sick people around. So there definitely was a little bit of drop off in routine childhood vaccination.
I'm sure you're getting a lot of calls right now about vaccines, whether it is to see about getting the ones that they've missed updated and current, but also I'm sure plenty of parents are asking you about the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, we do. We certainly, getting kids caught up is definitely a priority, and a lot of kids do need certain vaccines to enter school before kindergarten and before middle school. Yes, and we get lots of questions about the COVID-19 vaccine as well. And the one thing I'd pass along to anybody is, please, if you're having any hesitation about the COVID-19 vaccine, just please talk to your provider about it. It doesn't mean you have to get it, but at least have an open dialogue with your doctor about it.
So can you share with us, not to reveal any patient-doctor confidentiality, but if you're having conversations with parents about the COVID vaccine, can you share with us maybe some common questions you're hearing asked?
Yeah, the thing I always tell parents when it comes to vaccinating kids, or really anything that happens in my office, and I think the same is true for any pediatrician, is, I'm a father. I have 2 kids. I never tell anybody to do anything in my office that I wouldn't want done for my child or I haven't already done for my child. And I think that's really important to remember. If I thought for a second something was going to cause real harm, it would never be recommended for me for your child. But some of the more common questions we get one about, does it cause reproductive issues or infertility? There's absolutely no truth to that one at all. That has just been some misinformation that's been created on the internet. And then the other one that's really concerning that we get from parents is the risk of myocarditis after you get your second COVID-19 vaccine. And that is actually a real, adverse effect that's been reported. The thing to keep in mind about it, though, is it's mostly happening in adolescent males after they get their second COVID-19 shot. And the risk of developing myocarditis after your second COVID-19 vaccine is about 1 in 60,000 right now. Your risk of actually getting myocarditis, real myocarditis, if you get COVID-19, is more like 1 in 80, 1 in 90. So when we talk about, benefits outweigh the risks, that's what we're talking about. You have a real risk of serious myocarditis from COVID-19, about 10,000-fold higher than getting vaccinated.
So would you encourage people to, I know you mentioned having an honest conversation with your provider, feeling free to ask questions even if you think it might sound kind of awkward. Like you mentioned, parents being concerned about the fertility side of things, and we won't focus on this. But when you answered by saying there's no evidence that that's a problem, if a parent followed it up with saying, yeah, but how can we know since it's still a relatively new vaccine? Is that a fair question to at least feel free to ask in the office?
Of course it is. And listen, every question that you come in and ask us is fair to ask. I am never going to shame anybody for any question. There are no dumb questions inside your doctor's office ever. I think where I get frustrated, and I'm sure other doctors do, is people come in and I ask them if they're planning on getting the COVID-19 vaccine, and they say no. And I say, oh, well, is there something that you're concerned about? Is there something that maybe I can address for you? And they don't even want to talk to me. So I just wish that everybody would talk to me. And I don't expect them to run out and get it after they talk to me, but I would hope that they would at least have a conversation, with me or their doctor about it.
Okay, I am going to ask you one more thing, because you're the first pediatrician I've talked to since the school year has started. Are the side effects for kids 12 and up any different than it is for adults when they get the COVID vaccine? Should parents be watching for anything different in their children?
No, and to kind of address one of the things you had said earlier too, as far as long-term side effects go, we've been vaccinating in this country for well over 60, 70 years now. There's never been a side effect discovered in a vaccine that was beyond the 6-week mark after you get it in the whole history of vaccination, because it's completely out of your system at that point.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to repeat that, because I've never heard that said before. So will you repeat that?
Yeah. So in the history of vaccinating, there has never been a side effect that has been discovered beyond 6 weeks post-vaccine.
That is I've never heard that before, and I bet a lot of other people have not either. And with the kids back in school, I think parents are just really frightened because they don't want to do the wrong thing. So hopefully you've given them some reassurance this morning.
I hope so. And like I said, just please, talk to your doctor. And if you still don't feel comfortable after you've talked to your doctor, that's fine. That is completely fine. Just have a conversation.
Okay, let's talk about this too before I let you run. I know you mentioned that you can still get parents in for well visits. Sports physicals, I guess kids will decide in the next several weeks that yes, in fact, I do think I want to play basketball in the winter. They can run in and get their sports physical pretty easily too.
Absolutely. We'll figure out a way to work them in, because we know how crazy it is right before school starts.
All right, Dr. Bryn Meredith, there were a lot of topics that we could have covered this morning, but thanks for focusing with me a bit on the COVID vaccine, because I have a feeling a lot of folks are having that conversation in their kitchens these days. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. And here's how you can get in touch with Dr. Meredith. He is part of Memorial's Pediatric Diagnostic Associates, 3 locations, downtown, Gun Barrel, and Ringgold. Phone number, also easy to remember, it's 698-BABY. That translates 698-2229. And you can also find out more online at chimemorialmedicalgroup.org/PDA. We're back after this.
Don't miss Ashley Home Store's Labor Day Early Access Sale. Friday through Monday only. Buy one, get one half off. Buy this upholstered sofa.